Hi friends, this is our bonus practice for the Exploring Pranayama 5-day series. So we get a bonus 6th day. Just because as I was recording these, thinking about them and how difficult I find it personally, and I know I talked to a couple people that feel the same way, that sitting down and just focusing on your breath is really quite challenging when you are so overstimulated or used to being overstimulated by so many things. Sometimes when we land on our mat or on our meditation cushion or whatever seat, whatever spot we may find ourselves in, it takes a little bit more to rein in our awareness and our presence. So typically, as I had said before, I think maybe in day 2 or 3, usually we would take pranayama after asana, our physical practice, shavasana, and before meditation. However, again, we don't always have 75 or 90 minutes to be able to fit everything in. So this practice is brief. This practice hits every main point in the body, every main direction of the spine quickly, but not in rapid succession. There will be a very brief shavasana, and then the option of you to choose which pranayama technique you'd like. So I'd like for you to think about how you feel right now. If you feel like the heating practices, Kapalabhati or Bhastrika, may not be the best practices for you right now. Again, if this is summer, if you run hot, if you're very pitta in nature, maybe Kapalabhati and Bhastrika are not the things we need to be taking, or Ujjayi. Or on that spectrum, Bhastrika definitely being the most heating, most intense, Kapalabhati kind of short behind. Or not too far behind. And then Ujjayi is heating, is focusing, but it's not going to be nearly as heating as Kapalabhati and Bhastrika. If you are one of those overheated, or if it's in the middle of the summer, or you've been working or doing very vigorous activity, you may opt to do Shitali, Shitkari, or Brahmari instead. Our cooling breaths, our focusing, our winding down breaths. So we will begin with our 3-part breath. Offer the tiniest bit of Ujjayi, just again, the more stimuli we have in the body and to wrap in the senses, the easier it's going to be to create that presence and maintain it. After that, we will move into 3 sets of 10 Kapalabhati breaths. Kapalabhati technique. This, as I had said previously in the Kapalabhati video, is also a kriya, also a cleansing technique. So before we breathe, it'd be nice if we cleared the nasal passages. So if you've not already, blow your nose, do whatever you need to do. We'll take a very brief practice, hopefully about 10 minutes or less, and then we will do our brief shavasana, awareness of stillness, awareness of silence, kayasthira, and mauna. And then we will take whatever pranayama technique you feel is most appropriate for you in this moment. This moment could change depending on how our physical practice goes. So feel free to change your mind at the end. If you think you know what you want right now, and it turns out at the end you want something different, change your mind. We'll get going. Find your tall, comfortable seat. Maybe sit on a cushion, sit on a towel. You're welcome to sit on a block, but again, corners tend to be kind of pokey. So find something that's comfortable, that doesn't dig in, that's not uncomfortable for the backs of your legs. Tall seat with the hands on the tops of the legs or the knees. Tall spine. Observing the breath as it is right now. Noticing where we are breathing. Consider where we could be breathing and modifying slowly. No gasping, no sudden changes, just working in the direction of our samavritti, even length breath. And begin to notice and work in the direction of our 3-part breath, dirga breath or yogic breathing. Inhaling into navel, rib cage, and chest, feeling energy move upwards through the torso. And as you exhale, chest in, ribs in, navel back. Inhale up, these 3 parts, 3 spaces of expansion. And exhales back down. A couple more on your own. Now, remembering for Kapalabhati, we do not want a full inhale. Exhales will be sharp at the navel, out through the nose. Inhales a gentle rebound. On your own, take about 3 rounds of 10 exhales, 1 full breath in between. If you feel like they are too heating, take 1 round. Take 2 rounds if you want the full 3. After your rounds of Kapalabhati, setting this intention for presence, for perception and shift of energy, of prana, this life force, what we navigate, what we help control and expand with the practice of pranayama. Please make your way into tabletop, coming on to hands and knees. Gently as you inhale, lift the chest to cow pose. Bottom points of the shoulder blades pull down into the back. As you exhale, rounding to cat pose, hug the navel up and under, maintaining that heat, that strength from Kapalabhati. Inhale back to cow pose, lift the chest, shoulders back. We can still keep a slight strength in the navel. Exhale, rounding, cat pose. Inhale back to cow pose, lift the chest. Child's pose, hips back toward heels. Inhale forwards to cow pose. Straight back to child's pose. Exhale, navel hugs in on the way back. 2 more, just these 2 poses. Inhale, cow pose, lift the chest. Child's pose, back. Inhale forwards to cow. And if you'd like, on both inhale and exhale, slight ujjayi, slight whoosh sound in the back of the throat. Landing here. Again, only a sound maybe you can hear. And walking the hands over to the left side of the mat. Curve long from right hip to right hand. Notice if left hip or left shoulder are lifting away from the floor. Maybe right shoulder and right hip are lifting to avoid a deeper stretch through the right side. Go ahead and sink them lower, maintaining samavritti, and if you'd like, ujjayi. Or if you find this too heating,
Find just our samavriti, even length breath without the extra constriction. Walk the hands over to the right side of the mat, curve along through the left side. And walk the hands back to the center, back to child's pose. Inhale forwards to cow pose. Lift the chest. This time, tuck the toes back to down dog. Taking a breath here. Knees can bend, tailbone tipping up to the ceiling. On your next exhale, knees to the floor. Inhale back to cow pose. Lift the chest. Child's pose back. Inhale forwards, back to cow. Tuck the toes, back to down dog. And breathing here. And walk the feet forwards. Come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Cross the arms at the elbows. Let the head and shoulders hang forwards. We can bend the knees. Nod the head yes. Shake it no. Release the jaw. And release the hands back to the floor. Inhale to a half lift. Spine straight out in front. Heart lifts slightly. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the hands. Step back with your right leg for runner's lunge. Long stance between both feet. Breathing here. Heart lifts forwards. Bringing right heel over. Ball of the right foot. Active through the legs. And keeping the right hand to the floor, inhale, left arm up, coming into revolved runner's lunge. Left hand reaches high. And again, we're thinking of reaching up toward the ceiling, opening the chest while not twisting behind. Lift straight up, energy from right hand to left hand. Release the left hand to the floor, set the right knee down to the ground, come into kneeling pyramid, walk the hands back, begin to straighten left knee as you fold over left leg. Left toes, left foot can flex back toward the knee to increase what we feel in the back line of the leg. Bend back into the left knee, hands land. Straighten the right knee off the floor. Inhale, left leg back to a plank or a kneeling plank. Stay to breathe here. Heart forwards, navel hugs away from the floor, whether we're on knees or toes. Exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Let the body land. Keeping the hands where they are, taking them just a little farther in front, below the shoulders. Pull the hands back into your mat as though we're trying to pull the heart forwards, like we'd slide on a wooden floor. Still breathing. Release the chest back to the ground, hands around rib cage. Move through knees or toes, back to down dog. Breathing here. On your exhale, step the right foot forwards to runner's lunge. Slide the foot forwards if it didn't quite make it all the way up. We can always change our stance. Heart forwards, lifting left heel over a ball of left foot. We can always take the hands to blocks if we find it difficult to reach the floor, if the chest and the knee are running into one another before the hands land. Left hand lands, revolved runner's lunge. Inhale, right shoulder open, right arm lifts up.
Release right hand to the floor. Set the left knee down onto the ground. Come into kneeling pyramid. Hips move back. Folding over the right leg. Right foot can flex back. Right knee can keep a little bit of a bend. And again, noticing if we're rounding and slouching forwards or keeping energy, keeping prana into the spine. Slight lift in the chest. And bend back into the right knee. Hands land, straighten the left knee off the floor, and step back to plank or kneeling plank. Breathing here, heart forwards, navel draws back. And exhale, release all the way to the floor through knees or toes. Elbows hug rib cage. Take the hands back around the hips. As you inhale, lift the chest away from the floor. Pull the upper arm bones into the rib cage, maybe feeling like they're wrapping behind the rib cage. Float the arms, float the legs, come into locust pose, breathing here. Release back to the floor. Hands and chest land. Come back to child's pose this time, please. And build up to hands and knees again. Go ahead and come into a seat facing the wide edge, or the long edge of your mat, pardon me. Leaning back onto the hands, lift up through the chest. Knees point up to the ceiling. And walk the heels back toward the hips, so the legs are a little wider than hip width. Toes pointed out. Hips, legs externally rotated. Release the knees to the left as you exhale, windshield wiper shape. Inhale, lift up the knees. Exhale, knees to the right. Inhale, lift up. Knees to the left. And raise up. Knees to the right. Lift the knees up. Go ahead and straighten the legs out. Come into a wide leg shape first, taking the fingertips behind the hips, lifting tall, using the arms to help lift the chest, lengthen the spine. We'll begin to fold forwards. We may just lean forwards, or we could walk the hands closer to the outside of the legs, bringing the chest a little farther forwards, or maybe start to walk the hands in front of you. Again, keeping the chest lifted, spine tall, using this practice to prepare for our practice of pranayama. So being able to find the energy into the spine, that tall, confident seat, seeming effortless, even as the muscles are working to sit tall and comfortable. Go ahead and lift the spine, lift all the way up. Bring your left foot inside the right thigh. Twisting, take the right hand to the left knee, open the left shoulder back. Now we're not leaning onto the left hip. Keep the right cheek to the floor. Keep the right leg all the way down and lift tall, opening through the chest. Thinking of not forcing a specific shape to open a specific muscle or open a specific muscle group, but creating more space for the lungs to expand. And spin back around to face the front, and we will switch legs, switch sides. Left leg wide out to the side. Right foot inside left thigh. Left hand to right knee, sit tall, open the right shoulder back. Again, we are twisting. We are affecting change with the physical body, with the purpose of increasing our comfort for breath and energy expansion. And please spin back around to face the front. From here, we're going to slide the right shin forwards, crossing the left leg over the top of the right leg. So either, this is option number one, coming into shoelace pose or leg variation of cow face pose, or we can sit in a tall, comfortable cross-leg seat. Either one is a wonderful option. If we are in shoelace pose, the left leg is going to be on top. For those of you taking a cross-leg seat, let the left shin be in front. From here, left leg kind of has the right leg anchored toward the floor. We're going to slide the left hand away from you. This may be plenty. Try to not drop into the shoulder, but stay long through the spine, engage through the chest and through back body. If you'd like, add on reaching right arm up and over. Maybe letting the left elbow release toward the floor or sliding the left hand farther out. So if the legs are crossed, we will still feel that stretch. It may not be as intense, but that is okay. You probably feel it plenty already. Lifting up, we will switch legs. So either right leg on top for shoelace pose or right shin in front. And this may cause us to cross the legs in a way that is not usually the way we'd cross them. This may be the awkward way and it could feel plenty strange. Slide the right hand away from you, opening long through left side. We can extend the left arm to increase the weight. Maybe bend right elbow, or simply reach the right hand farther. Lifting back up. Please spin into the direction you'd like your feet to be facing for a brief Shavasana. We'll take one more pose here, reclined onto our back. Crossing the right ankle over the top of the left thigh for figure 4. Guide the right knee away from you. Pick up the left foot, hands around left hamstring or left shin. Breathing here, breathing down into right side body, right hip, maybe right glute or the outside seam of the leg. Release the left foot and the right foot back to the floor. Switch, left ankle over the top of the right thigh, left knee away, right leg toward the chest. Release the right foot and the left foot back to the floor. And find your comfortable position to rest. We will be here just about 2 minutes. Legs long, or we can walk the feet close to the hips and let the knees knock in. Collapsed bridge variation if the hamstrings and low back are unhappy with the legs long. Breathing here, be aware of where the back of the body lands into the floor. Exhales into back body. Feel the inhale as though the floor rises up to hold the back of the body. Be aware of the stillness through whole physical body. The abdomen, the torso may change shape with the breath, but whole body rests in stillness. Resting in silence. Observe your relationship to this stillness. Notice what maybe you could perceive with this extra clarity, with fewer distraction. Bring your awareness back into the breath, aware of the expansion through lungs, down to the navel. Bringing your awareness back to the physical shape of the body. Gently begin to move, taking your time to roll onto your right side for a couple breaths. Making your way up into your tall, comfortable seat. Either sitting onto a cushion, sitting onto a towel, a blanket, hopefully finding a little more comfort in the physical body, a little more energy and alertness through the spine. We'll return to our Samavriti, 3-part breath. Choosing your preferred pranayama technique. How do you feel right now? How did you feel at the beginning of practice, and how can this inform which technique we take? Our heating breaths, our cooling breaths, perhaps our balancing breaths. You're welcome to take about a minute of any preferred technique, and then we will end with about a minute of Nadi Shodhana or Anulom Viloma. Without retention, you are welcome to take 2 minutes of alternate nostril breathing as well. We'll begin our first technique, your preferred breath, for about 1 minute. Now, please breathe comfortably, breathe normally, releasing our first preferred pranayama technique. See how this technique made you feel in physical body, in energetic body, what space maybe it put you in, a grounded, strong presence, maybe a heady, airy presence. And we'll take about 1 minute of our alternate nostril breathing. Pointer finger and middle finger to the heel of the hand. Please close off the right side of the nose. Inhale up the left side of the nose. Switch to exhale down the right side of the nose. Stay to inhale right. Switch to exhale left. Inhale. Switch, exhale on your own. The next time you exhale out the left side of the nose, please return the hands to the tops of the legs and observe. If you would like, you are welcome to stay in this tall seat, practicing a specific meditation, returning to your intention, or simply rest in this state of observing, of clarity, of presence. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of pranayama. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found it beneficial, informative. Thank you for joining me for this time. Namaste.